Thank you everyone for joining us. The next event by Bitkub with their founder Jirajut will begin shortly in a couple of minutes. So thank you for your patience and tune in soon.
Hi everyone. Hope you all can listen to me, hear me. Welcome back for the second talk of today. I'm very excited to introduce to you our next speaker. He has graciously gifted his time to come talk to us today. Maybe a few, before we start, maybe a few house rules. And so if someone can share the screen for that, that would be good. So viewers, if everyone here right now, if you're encouraged to turn on your videos throughout the session, please ensure your audio is muted unless advised otherwise. If you have any questions, don't be shy, just ask. You can either use the Zoom chat function, or you could, speak and voice out your question. And we recommend you to use the speaker view. It should be on the right-hand page. And this will ensure us the best experience for this talk. So yeah, let's start. So just to introduce myself first, my name is Pawit Kuchkan. I'm a third-year engineer representing Thailand in this event. Let me introduce to you our speaker today, Mr. Jirajut Sapsi Sopa, also known in the business world by Kuntop Jirajut. He is the co-founder and group CEO of the tech startup Bitkub Capital Group Holding, based in Thailand, which aims to catalyze blockchain technology into the mainstream world by its four core businesses: Bitkub Capital, Bitkub Online, Bitkub Blockchain Technology, and Bitkub Academy. A bit more about our speaker, Kuntop. He is an Oxford alumnus, which makes us even more excited to have him on this talk. Having graduated not so long ago in 2013 with a master's in philosophy in economics, he then went on to pursue a job as an investment banker at Evotech Capital in Shanghai, and then moved to San Francisco in the US to be a financial consultant. I believe at Marquee Advisory Group. Shortly after, he decided to leave his job in the corporate world to follow his passion in entrepreneurship. Kuntop has dedicated the majority of his career in the cryptocurrency and blockchain industry after hearing about it for the first time in China, and co-founded coin.co.th, Thailand's largest Bitcoin wallet company. Later on, he co-founded Bitkub, which has grown into becoming Thailand's largest digital asset exchange, providing a full range of services for the digital assets ecosystem, including crypto trading, blockchain solutions, investment advisory, and investment in startups. As well as being the CEO of Bitkub, he is also a part of the board of directors at the Thai FinTech Association and the subcommittee at Thailand's Office of Trade Competition Commission. I will now pass on to Kintop, and maybe can you tell us more about your own personal story as well as your company story? How did it all come about? And do you have any views or advice for young kids of this generation trying to break into the startup world or the fintech world in general?
Sure. Thank you very much for having me here today. A pleasure to meet you all. Back then I was a really bad student. Oxford is, nowhere. It's all, I would even dare to dream about this. I was, focusing on sports in the past. I wanted to be a footballer, not a businessman. My ideal childhood, dream of being a Cristiano Ronaldo for Thailand. That was my original dream. I always, I want to play football every day. Study was the last thing that I care about. I always got into fights too. Like at one point I broke my friend's arm. I was almost about to get expelled from school. This was a Thai school in my primary years. Then my parents had enough. They decided to send me all the way to New Zealand from my high school, hoping that if they changed the environment, their son would get better. But that did not work, right? I didn't care about studying. I played sport every day. Studying was the last thing that I cared about. Then, after year 13, after I graduated in the NCA level 3, that's when I realized that I could not get into any of the Thai university. I wanted to fly back to Thailand and join a Thai university. But my grades were so bad, really bad. I can't even compete with the Thai university students back then. I was looking down on myself. Why am I such a bad student? That left a big scar, right? Big disappointment. I didn't have enough confidence back then. And luckily, because I love football so much, I decided to look for the UK universities. And in New Zealand, we graduated in December, right? And in the UK, we start our university year in September or in October. So I had this 9-month, 10-month gap to try again. So I decided to apply to this UCAS system. I'm not sure if it's still the same system for you guys, but in my years, it was this UCAS, this system. You can only pick 5 choices per year out of the university ranking tables. And back then I was staring at the top. I wanted to, put in Oxford. I wanted to put in Cambridge, LSE. But I was ashamed, right, of wasting my choices because they will outright reject me because of the grades. So I ended up putting in like football teams, Manchester, Liverpool, Newcastle, and all these football teams into my UCAS choices. And luckily, Manchester University accepted me as a student. Of course, I'm a Manchester United fan, right? That's why I picked Manchester University for my undergraduate career. So my life was dictated by football most of the time. Why I chose England, why I decided to join Manchester University. But after the first, after I have this, second chance at life again, reborn, I made a promise to myself that I'm going to be a better student. On the first year of the first day of the first university career, that's when I went into the library for the first time in my life. I just realized what the library looks like. That was like first year university. A bit late, but it's still okay, right? So I started to revise. I was reading 10 to 12 hours every single day, right? 7 days a week. And as a teenager, that's when you want to have a relationship, right? With university career years, you wanted to go partying, have relationship. I forgot all of those opportunities. I had no life pretty much. Right? Camping out in the library 7 days per week. Even during Christmas, you guys have white Christmas, right? Snowing. I'm the only one walking through snow to the library every day to revise, not flying back home. The warmest time of the year, right, to meet with family. Decided to give up all of those. And luckily I came out on top, graduated top of the whole of the university. Manchester has this Dean's Award, right? Only give out to the top, very, very, very top students. I was surprised that I managed to beat everyone and got into Oxford, MPhil, economics. I was the youngest in class back then, 21. The average age was 24, 25, I think, for an MPhil economics. And Oxford was tough. I don't know if it was tough for you guys, but for me, it was very, very tough. Had no life for 2 years, reading economics at Oxford for an MPhil program. I'm even scared of the examination school right now at Oxford. I don't want to walk past that building. It's crazy. I can't even do any of the past papers in the last 20 years. It's tough, but finally I was able to graduate. And after graduation, I was lost, like other economic students. And as a traditional economic student, you either go for investment banking or consulting, right? And that's when I decided to think different to my friends. After this Oxford brand, everyone thinks in the same manner, right? I need to go and work at Goldman Sachs, BCG, McKinsey, Goldman, JP Morgan, all these big brands, right? And I decided I wasn't chasing paychecks. I wasn't optimizing for paychecks after graduation. If you see my CVs, I went into a really boutique, small investment banking firm in Shanghai. I decided to switch countries. I want to optimize for experience, not for paycheck. I think different. I act different to my friends. So I flew to China. Have you guys watched the Wolf of Wall Street movie? The pink sheets, OTCQB, OTCQX industry. I was doing exactly just that, except I wasn't shouting like Leonardo like on the floor, but on the same industry, pink sheet stocks. I was taking the Chinese companies public because they have been opening up their country for the last 20 years and they have maturing companies wanting to go public in the US. That's what I did. And that's when I stumbled across Bitcoin in 2013. The price went from $11 to $1,150. So that I got, that sparked my interest, right? What is this asset? Why did the price go up like 10,000% in a short period of time? This was in Shanghai, right? I was working in this boutique investment banking firm, Evertech Capital. I was telling Darren, my friend, he was sitting next to me, my colleagues. Hey, Darren, do you know this Bitcoin thing? What is this Bitcoin thing? Have you heard about this? Darren could not care less, right? He just ignored this thing. But I decided to read up further about Bitcoin. And I was so lucky. I stumbled across a blog written by Mark Anderson. I did not know who he was, but I hope you guys did know who he is, Mark Anderson. He, everyone underestimates Mark Anderson. He's the one pushing the world's technology frontier forward. He's the one who sees new technology at least 10 years before everyone else does. He sees the future. Right? During his university career, he was the first person that created Netscape, the first browser. Sold it to Microsoft. Became a billionaire since university years. After that, after he sold Netscape, he was the first to create cloud computing, 10 years before Amazon created cloud computing. And in 2013, he wrote a blog called Why Bitcoin Matters. Right? It was a random blog back then, and now it's a classic blog in the New York Times or New York Wall Street Journal or something. You guys should read. type on Google why Bitcoin matters. So I got to see the other dimension about Bitcoin, how it is going to change the future landscape of the financial industry. And I was so excited. And you know, as a teenager, after graduation, I was exploring my options, what I like, what I dislike. I was trying to find out about myself, right? And that investment banking job did not last very long. Not because I was not performing, I was outperforming everyone. Obviously, Oxford guys, you should know that we are working like we're hard workers, right? We outperform everyone, intimidate, everyone around us. We were outperforming, but corporate world, you got stuck. When you have best ideas, you just can't execute. You get stuck to this manager level. It's pretty annoying to move things around your way. So I found out that early on that corporate is definitely not for me. Then I gave myself a second chance. I decided to apply for a financial consulting job in San Francisco in America. And there are two reasons. The first one is I haven't been to America before. I need to optimize for experience. Like China, I haven't been to China. I had never been to China. That's why I chose Shanghai. And the second reason, I love technology, right? After I discovered this Bitcoin thing, and I really want to visit the Silicon Valley area, the Bay Area, which is in San Francisco. But obviously, I cannot get a job at Google or at Facebook. Those are really bright kids, also from Stanford, from Harvard, did computer science, more relevant skill sets. I was reading economics from a UK university and also an international student visa, work permit, extra barriers. Right? And the best job I could get was a financial consultant on the Market Street. Right, I was living on the Sutter Street, taking the bus to Market Street every day to work. After the first week into the second job, consulting, I hated, the job. I realized that I cannot last for the rest of my life doing research. I already had enough at Oxford. Right? But I'm already here, right? In San Francisco, I thought to myself, I can't just fly back after a week. My parents would kill me. Then I started to ask around. Do you guys know anyone working at the Bay Area? Can you make introduction? One of my colleagues said, I know a guy, an executive from PayPal. Would you like to meet him? I was like, yes, please. Can you please schedule a meeting? So one Saturday brunch, I took Dan to a pancake shop, right, in the Bay Area. I was asking Dan, I was treating him pancakes. Right? Dan was working at PayPal, executive of PayPal. Dan, what do you think about Bitcoin? He was like, Top, you are the luckier generation. Bitcoin is going to change the world. The original vision of PayPal was not to be a payment gateway. They wanted to create a digital dollar. Right? But the environment, the infrastructure, nothing was ready. They had no cloud computing. They had no blockchain. They had no mobile phone penetration. Right? They had nothing. Nothing was ready. Top, you are the luckier generation. You have blockchain. You have cloud computing. You have smartphones. Bitcoin is going to change the world. So that I had this rubber stamp, another rubber stamp confirming this belief, this conviction about Bitcoin that is unique from everyone else's. Like Steve Jobs was saying, you can only connect the dots backwards, right? You only realize that those experiences matters, right? You can only connect the dots backwards in your own way. And I encourage you guys to visit the Bay Area. It's such an interesting place. If I went into a pub, and whoever I talked to inside the pub, like the first question you would normally ask would be like, "What do you do?" Right? And all the answers I have received was like, "I am an entrepreneur," and they would all share with full passion about how their company is going to change the world. That was such a unique place. So that was when I was introduced to entrepreneurship. You know, as a traditional economics student, you were taught to climb up ladders, corporate ladders, right? Goldman Sachs, BCG, Goldman Sachs, right? Uh, Entrepreneurship was the last thing that you think about. But when you change the environment, you change the people you talk to, you change the environment, you change your thinking, you change your mindset, right? So that's when I got interested about entrepreneurship. And so not very long, not even a month in San Francisco, I decided to book a ticket back home to Thailand to start one of the very first Bitcoin company. Actually, before I forgot one phase. During my job transition between Shanghai and San Francisco, I had this 1 month gap, right after I quit my investment banking job, and I did not want to waste this 1 month gap, right? So I started to email all my friends. I have this 30 days period. You know, is there anything I can help you with, or anything I can do? My friend Beryl Lee, we met in the US. I mean, we met in the UK, in Manchester. She emailed me, Top, why didn't you fly to the Philippines? The startup ecosystem was about to take off. Can you help me on this small project called World Startup Report? You know, I was in Thailand for 1 day after Shanghai. The next day, I packed my suitcases, a big one, because I'm not going to fly back to Bangkok. Right? I flew to Manila right away the next day, to Cebu and Manila. Right? Anyone from the Philippines here? So, you know, startup ecosystem was about to take off like 8 years ago in 2013. And, you know, I was helping Beryl and with a small project called World Startup Report, very similar to Wikipedia, but to amalgamate all the startups in different countries. My job was in charge of Thailand. I was doing research about Thailand. Back then, there were no startups, barely any startups. There were like Haba, like the first co-working space in Thailand, e-commerce, you know, very Lazada, maybe the first e-commerce, very few. But the interesting life experience that I got from that job was that no one was doing anything about Bitcoin. That is a unique life experience again, connecting the dots backwards, right? Anything that we are taking action would, you cannot explain the current moment, but you can only connect the dots backwards. And Beryl introduced me to this guy called Bowie guy. Right, I was helping him. He was a Silicon Valley entrepreneur. He sold his company Cut Munch to LinkedIn. And then he flew to the Philippines to bootstrap the startup ecosystem. So I was helping him out. Wasn't thinking about money at all, right? Optimizing paycheck was not in my head at all. I was optimizing for experience. That's how I think act different from my peers. Then, you know, after a month, I had to fly to SF, San Francisco. I wasn't planning to fly back to Bangkok, right? I packed a big suitcase all the way to San Fran. Bowie was treating me a thank you dinner for helping him on this World Startup Report. And you guys, that was the most expensive dinner of my life. He said one thing that completely changed my life at that dinner. He said, Top, I heard you're about to start a new job in San Francisco. Thank you for helping me with this small project. But I heard you are an Oxford graduate. And I heard you are 23 years old. You can work 24 hours, 7 days per week without getting tired because you're 23. You have no wife, you have no kids. You are the lucky sperm club, right? Your parents didn't even need money from you. You're born into a lucky sperm club. And why don't you start your own company? Startup, Bowie said. Imagine if you fail, right? If you start a company and you fail, come on, with your Oxford degree, everyone will be fighting for you. Any company you can walk in and they would gladly welcome you as an Oxford student. I was like, yes, you're right. That is true. That is actually pretty true. And Bowie said, you know, Top, but if you take your flight to San Francisco tomorrow, and you're addicted to this job, right? Until you reach about 40 years of age. You probably have a wife, probably have kids. Your parents are no longer there to give you moral support, right? And you cannot work 24/7 like a teenager anymore. And imagine if you want to start your own company then. What are your opportunity costs? Are you going to take that risk? And if you fail with your company, no one is going to accept you back as an employee because they would accept new blood, right? Younger employees, 40 years old. You're not going to be welcome back. It's not vice versa. But if you start your company now, you can work your ass off 24/7 without getting tired. You have no responsibility, no risk, no wife, no kid. Your parents can give you moral support. And if you fail, walk into any company. They would gladly welcome you. Guys, that was the most expensive dinner of my life. After the next morning, I was not sitting still on my chair in the airplane. I wasn't looking forward to the job anymore. And that is why this, SF job, consulting job did not last for even a month, I think. I was like, I'm wasting my time. Every day that I got up, I'm just wasting my time. I'm just wasting my time. After meeting with Dan Chad, a rubber stamp, Bitcoin is going to change the world. Booked the flight back home. My parents were shocked and very disappointed. They sent me all the way to Oxford, right? High expectation. Goldman Sachs, BCG, McKinsey, come on. Look at their son. Like, you can't even last a month in a new job. 2 months in Shanghai. Right? What is wrong with you, Tom? Right? My parents was disappointed. Then my mom asked, Tom, what are you going to do with life then? I said, I am going to start my own startup. My mom was like, what is a startup, Tom? Is it like SMEs? Imagine this was 8 years ago, guys. What is a startup? I had to take time to explain. Okay, fine. You want to start a startup. What are you going to do? Oh, I want to create a Bitcoin startup. What is Bitcoin, Tom? Right? Imagine 8 years ago. I had to take time to explain. Still did not understand, right? Different generation, did not understand. But I feel bad asking my mom for any more money because they sent, our parents sent us overseas for 10 years. That's a lot of money already. My parents has a small shop, clothing shop in Pratunam Center, right? Shopping place. So I asked my parents for a spare room from that very small clothing shop in Pratunam, right? Spare room. So I set up my first office there. And my aunt, she ran a furniture business. So she donated a chair and a table, right, to me. And I had this sign at the back of the wall in a very small room. There's a bed, there's a chair, there's a desk, there's a whiteboard, and there's a sign. And there's this Toshiba laptop that I wrote my thesis on. That's it. That's the whole company, right? The only asset I had to myself was a Toshiba laptop. That's it, 8 years ago. And I was working my ass off, 7 days per week, 12, 14 hours every day. I cannot socialize. I saved up every pennies. My parents were feeding me for 10 months, guys. How ashamed is that, right? I was eating lunch, dinner, breakfast with my family every day. Saved up every pennies. I did operation myself, incorporation, legal work myself, accounting, general ledger, trial balance myself, marketing myself, online, offline, right? I did everything, but I learned so much. I can guarantee if you guys are from the Lucky Sperm Club, go and start your own company, right? You can afford to fail. I can guarantee you guys within the first year of your first company, you will learn much more than working for someone else for 5 years. Because it will force you to learn. It will force you to grow, to make sure your company survives. Right? I learned so much in that 10 months. So I saved up the first portion. I decided to start to expand the team. And that's when I realized that no one would want to work for me, even though I had the money to pay, right? The first reason, when they came to the office, they were shocked. This is definitely not a Bitcoin company. I'm sure it's a clothing shop. Clothes everywhere. This is definitely not a financial company. Right? They were shocked at my office. Why is there a bed here? Why is there like one desk and a chair? And that's it. That's the whole office. No one wanted to work with me. And the second reason, how many people in the company? There's just one person, myself, 23 years old, CEO, right? CEO, 23 years old. And what do you do? Oh, I run a Bitcoin company. I'm pretty sure that's a Ponzi scheme, right? No one wanted to come and work with me back then. The first two employees were my cousin. His name is Thi and Jane. They had a gap year. So I used that saved up, fund to pay my cousins to work for me for the first year. I could not hire anyone. And they were working with me every day from that clothing shop. And actually, Cointelegraph just came to the shop last week. They were filming this documentary about myself. You guys can see the physical actual shop from the Cointelegraph video. It will be out soon. And so the three of us were in this spare room. Then the Bank of Thailand issued a letter, a proper formal letter saying that Bitcoin could be a Ponzi scheme. The value could go to zero anytime. This was 2014 now. My dad stumbled across this letter, right, from the Bank of Thailand. And he looked at me. Who do you think he would believe, guys? A recently graduated son or the Bank of Thailand? Obviously, the Bank of Thailand, right? My dad said, Top, can you please shut the company down now, please, and go get a job at Goldman Sachs? Right? I spent a lot of money on you already. Why are you staring at computer screen for 10 months, not talking to anyone? I have to feed you every day. You can't even socialize. And then the Bank of Thailand said, this is a Ponzi scheme. Imagine that, right? My parents were super disappointed. But, I was stubborn. I was like, we had big fights. Bitcoin is going to change the world. I met Dan Chat. I read a blog called, Why Bitcoin Matters by Mark Anderson. We had this huge fight within the family. I did not want to give up. Then one of the happiest day of my life was when I moved out of my parents' shop into a co-working space in Ekamai. We rented out the smallest room. And we had like 4 or 5 employees in that room. And every lunchtime, I would go and have lunch with them. I was sitting at the top of the table, and I was like already super proud of myself. I am an entrepreneur with 4 or 5 employees. This is my company. Already very proud, right? Back then. We gradually grew from like the smallest room to a medium-sized room in that co-working space into the largest co-working space room. We're a team of 13 people now. That's when the anti-money laundering officers sent me an investigation letter with my name on the head of the letter. Right? My dad saw the letter. Then he looked at me. What do you think he said? Top, we are not that poor. Why are you risking your life? This is jail time. Go and shut the company tomorrow. Go and shut the company today. He was saying this, and I was like, Bitcoin is going to change the world. I met Mark Anderson, Dan Chat, huge fights, and I was hiding this letter from all my employees. I did not tell anyone. Only my dad know about this, right? I rang my friend from Oxford, right? And they all work at a big law firm. Can you please help? Anti-money laundering called me into the office for an investigation. Can you please help? I have the money to pay. They were all like, Top, good luck, right? no one wanted to risk themselves because it was super gray back then. Guys, you have no ideas. I was working from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. managing the company, right? From 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. I was reading up on all the anti-money laundering laws, AML, KYC laws. I did this for 3 months, consecutively for 3 months, without telling all of my employees, right? Super tired, tiring, The next day, 10 a.m., I have to be at the office again. I just left the office at 3 a.m. for 3 months, I was so stressed. My friends did not want to help out. All the big law firms, even though I had the money to pay, no one wanted to risk it. So stressful. I can't even talk to my parents because my dad would just say, "Top, then shut the companies down. I told you so. Shut the company now." Like, I can't even talk to my parents. I can't even socialize too. Right? My friends were looking down on me. Everyone was like, "Yeah, Goldman Sachs, BCG, McKinsey, just got promoted. Top, you're running a small startup, laundering money, right? I can't even socialize." So bad that every Friday night, I would drive to Dongwon Airport. I would park the car at night. Then I would pick the most recent random flight that is about to take off. Then I would fly alone by myself to a random place for the weekends. I don't care where it is. Pick the nearest, flight that is about to take off. Then I would fly back on Sunday night. Then on Monday, I would hustle again. I would fight again and start work again. For 7 consecutive weeks, I would drive to the airport every Friday and I would pick a random flight by myself. Go there, alone by myself. And my dad was driving me to the anti-money laundering office, EDN, right, to defend the company. And after I got back to the office, after the anti-money laundering presentation, half of my employees left the company. Half of my employees left the company after they realized that the company was being investigated by the anti-money laundering officers. We had to rebuild. We had to rehire. Right? That's fine. We just rehire. The company gradually grew, until we hit about 30 people. We moved to a new office in Chitlom. That's when I got another letter from the Bank of Thailand for an investigation. My dad saw the letter and he looked at me. What do you think he was saying, guys? Top, are you really going to get into trouble with all the regulators in Thailand? Can you shut the company down? Please, now, shut the company. Tomorrow. No, today, shut the companies down. Right. I was like, Bitcoin is going to change the world. We had this big fight. Right. Mark Anders and Dan Shat, right? Bitcoin is going to change the world. Big fights with my dad again. I wasn't willing to give up. And I did not tell any of my employees either. I rang my friend from a big law firm again. I got a letter from the Bank of Thailand. Can you please help? The investigation is soon, within a month. Can you please help? Top, good luck. Right. So, from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., I was managing a team of 30 people, company. And from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m., I was reading up on all the, money regulation, right, by myself for a month, preparing to defend with the Bank of Thailand. After I came back, I think my dad was the one driving me again to the Bank of Thailand office. After I came back, half of my employees left the company again. That's fine. We just rebuild, right? We hire. Then I thought that was over. Then the revenue department sent me a letter. And this was like consecutive weeks, right after we finished this Bank of Thailand crisis, right? The revenue department sent me another letter with my name on it. My dad saw the letter and he looked at me. What do you think he said? Right? he doesn't even say anything anymore, right? He just had enough, like, just do your own thing, right? So there's no point fighting. So then, but for this this crisis, everyone in the company right? From 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., everyone was doing their own things, managing the company. But from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m., everyone became an accountant, reconcile all the accounting, preparing for the RD meeting. Everyone was so burnt out. Half of the people in the company left, not because of anything, but because they were so burnt out by the workload. Like we were working from 10 a.m. to 3 a.m. Then at 10 a.m. I would be chasing people again. Where are you guys? Why are you not at the office yet? Right? For 3 months, half of the employees left the company. Then eventually on the 1st of April 2017, the Japan announced Bitcoin is legal. That's when I got the congratulation message from all my friends everywhere. Top, I've been following your story. I can't believe you are the minority that is right about this Bitcoin thing, where the majority is wrong, so wrong about this Bitcoin thing. I can't believe you stand the test. I can't believe you have this courage to hold on to pain for so long. Right? Can you please advise? I want to start my own company now. I got this message everywhere from my friends. Eventually, Gojek acquired the company. I exited before. And then, in 2017 now, that's when I thought I want to take at least a gap year, because it was such a really tiring 4 years of my life, right? Doing things that people did not understand and actually against. Very hard. I thought Oxford time was hard, right? But running a company is much harder, right? Much more tiring and stressful. I wanted to take a gap year, but in 2017, that was a golden year for Bitcoin. That after Japan announced Bitcoin is legal, that's where all the media came to me, or the press media, because I was the only one that did this thing for so long in Thailand, right? I was on stages every day, 7 days a week. I spoke more than 300 stages in 2017 alone. Been to all the press, every channel. So I did not really rest. Then the SEC created this FinTech Challenge program for the first time in their history. So I wanted to show the regulators that we can do much more with the blockchain technology. So I formed a team called Private Chain, and I created this stock exchange 2.0, or digital asset exchange, where you can trade stocks T+0 days instead of T+3 days. Back then in Thailand, when you want to trade stocks, it was T+3 days settlement time. I created a new stock exchange that you can trade stocks within 3+0 days, instant settlement. We did the first round, second round, third round. Then I became a winner of that FinTech Challenge program. So I walked to the SEC and I told them, I wanted to turn this into a real business now because I'm your winner of your program. And they were a bit shy. They were like, but Top, I know you are the winner, but you can't really turn this into a proper business because of the legacy law. We only allow one stock exchange of Thailand. You cannot compete. They were a bit shy, but I said, I need to turn this into a proper business now. I'm the winner of your program. So they decided to create this sandbox program, right? And I was helping the SEC with the regulations, how we should issue a license for the digital asset exchange going forward. And when I realized that the new license is going to come out, I decided to fundraise for my second startup. I went and talked with the SBI. I don't know if you guys know SBI. They are the children company of SoftBank, a huge VC firm. They were like, oh, Top, I've been following your story since the first company. So glad that you're creating a second company now. Can we invest? So I said, well, yes, but the valuation is $16 million, seed round valuation. And they were like, 16 million valuation for a seed round top? What do you have? I was like, I have a presentation slides. That's all I have. They're like, top, are you serious? 16 million US dollars. That is a Series A round in Thailand. You must have a team, traction, revenues. You just have a paper and you wanted 16 million valuation? I was like, yes. All right, take it or leave it, right? Then the next morning, they sent me the term sheet. I was surprised, super surprised. They decided to invest, 1.6 million for 10% of the company. But the non-financial terms were not great, right? They were like, I need the first liquidation preference, anti-dilution. So I did not sign the term sheet. I was shop around. I was using that term sheet to shop around. Now I have this third-party verification of my company's valuation by a very reputable VCs. So I used that term sheet to shop around. And I found other investors who has easier, cleaner non-financial terms. So I decided to go with other investors. And we closed, instead of closing 1.6 million at 60 million valuation, we closed funding we closed 2.1 million US dollars at $17.5 million valuation. So I was able to push out the price. Everyone was shocked. It was the largest seed round in the Thai startup history. And I just had a piece of paper, presentation slides. And I used $2.1 million to take over an IT company, a team of 10 people, and turn that into Bitkub, right? And it's been 3 years and 2 months. Now we are on our way to become the first Thai unicorn, right? We have been growing 1,000% every year. For the first year, we made 3 million baht for the first year. On the second year, we made 33 million baht, right? 10 times or 1,000% growth in revenue. Last year, on the third year, we made 330 something million baht, right? Another additional 10 times 1,000% growth. This year, last month, we made 400 million baht in 1 month, right? For the first quarter, we made 1 billion baht already. So if you times that by the last 3 quarters, we would be making 4 billion, right? Or 3 billion baht of revenue. Or if you turn that into dollars, that would be around $100 million to 200 million, $150 million in revenue. And the profit margin is 80%, so mostly profit. Right? So we are the most profitable startup in the country. I would say the most profitable startup, because most other startups are burning cash. We raised a total of, since the company's inception, we raised a total of, if you turn this into dollars, 10 million, $11 million, $10.9 million. I haven't used a single penny. We run the company on profits. $10.9 million is still in the bank. Actually doubled because we turned that into Bitcoin, right? Already $20 million worth. We haven't used a single penny, and we have been running the company based on profit. And if you guys know, unicorn is $1 billion company, right? And if you can make $100 million in revenue, you times that by 10, a P of 10. It's a moderate estimation. Another 9 months, we would be Thailand's first unicorn. So guys, this is my journey so far. We have a team of 500 people, 4 companies under this umbrella now, and we would be investing in like $50 million in other startups now. We have Bitkub Ventures trying to expand the startup ecosystem. And we are one of the most popular companies in the last 3 years. But really, my journey has been 8 years, right?
Thank you very much, Kuntop, for the very inspiring story. Is it possible to maybe fit in a few questions from the audience, some very quick ones before you head off?
Sure.
So this first question we have from Parin. He says, how do you see the future of cryptocurrency in global finance as a whole? So maybe how does government come into it, or how will everything work together in a global sense?
Sure. Especially those who wanted to join the financial world after graduation, please be careful, guys. You have to understand the difference between candles and electric light. Right?
Okay.
The arrival of electric light does not come from a continuous improvement of candles, right? Right? We cannot arrive at electric light by continuous improving on candles. Right now, the global financial landscape is, to map this to my analogy, is pretty much candles. You are trying to create electric light by creating longer, bigger candles, but it doesn't work. We need to change the fundamental of it. In the last 50 years, since we lifted from the gold standard, right, 1971, the post-Bretton Woods system, Nixon shock, that's when dollar is no longer pegged to gold. We base on the belief that money is the IOU system, right? We created money based on the IOU system. But, with this digital currency, money is based on mathematics. The fundamental has shifted, right? Money is code, right? We can code. It's hard-coded in a public, open space that has proven stand the test of time in the last 13 years, that no one can ever alter this immutable ledger, hack, Bitcoin in the last 13 years. So long as 1 + 1 = 2, no one can cheat the system. And we're about to graduate into a world that the fundamental has changed. Money is no longer an IOU system or a Yellowstone like the gold standard, but money is mathematics, the logic of mathematics. And the whole layer on top is about to change, right? Imagine if music is tape. I don't know if you guys have seen a tape before, or CDs or an MP3, probably too late, right? But when music was physical, we built players on top, that are physical players like Blockbuster or Lan Mang Pong in มืองไทย. We have physical players on top. But when music is digital, YouTube, Jukes, right? The players on top are different now. We have Netflix, Line TV, YouTube as the winner on top, because the fundamental has shifted. So we are talking about money here. Money was an IOU system. The player on top are Wall Street, right? Mutual funds, stock exchange, traditional banks, money counting machines, branches. But when the fundamental layer has shifted from an IOU system to the logic of mathematics, the upper layer are different. So it will be Bitkub, decentralized exchange protocol, right? Decentralized lending, DeFi. It's a whole new world. So please, be careful to not join the candles club, but join the electric light.
Thank you very much. And maybe just a final question, maybe a lot of people have asked this as well, is what does Bitkub offer other than just being a cryptocurrency exchange where people can come in and buy and trade assets in a sense? Yeah.
Sure. So under our Bitkub umbrella, there are 4 companies now. The first one is a digital asset exchange, right? The largest one, 95% market share in Thailand. But with the first one, we allow people to trade, but not just that, right? With the digital currency, you can transfer, you can remit money overseas at a much cheaper and faster price, cheaper price, faster, frictionless manner. You can also have digital lending going forward, debit cards, Bitcoin debit cards, top up, utility bill payments, payment gateways with cryptocurrency, tapping on tourism industry. There's so much more, many things we can do going forward with just one company. The second company is our Bitkub blockchain technology. So we also implement blockchain application to other companies, big corporations in Thailand, like PTT, the government, Ministry of Finance. We created the first digital bonds, phase 1 for the government, the Bitkub team. We had a few clients from the US to apply blockchain application to their businesses to reduce costs, improve efficiency, and also to create coins, ICO portal, right? We can digitize anything around us now with the blockchain into the same manner as stocks. We can trade digital gold, digital diamonds, digital deeds, lands, unit of electricity. We can digitize, we can tokenize everything. So the second company is pretty much an FA 2.0 or investment banking 2.0. The first one is a stock exchange 2.0. Primary market versus secondary market, all under the same umbrella. The third company is called Bitkub Academy. It's an education center. With the stock exchange, they have this money channel, stock tomorrow players, but we turn them into 2.0 players. So we do B2B, B2C, offering education courses, tests, digital transformation, blockchain, how to buy, how to sell cryptocurrency, how to transfer money with cryptocurrency. So we host weekly classes. It's more like an education center. How to write smart contract, how to create blockchain, how to create your coin, more on an educational basis. Then the fourth company is called Bitkub Ventures. This is an incubator and accelerator plus investment company. So we invest in protocols, we invest in Bitcoin, we invest in other startups. We even bootstrap our own startups. We do internal homegrown promotion. Any employees want to create a company, we would invest in their company for them. Or any new, generation entrepreneurs who are seeking funding, we would be investing in other new startups to join the ecosystem. But it doesn't stop here, right? We are planning to get this private advisory fund, private fund license, mutual funds. There's so much more, so many things we can do going forward. We were planning to utilize our profit to expand the ecosystem. So think of Bitkub as an ecosystem for the new world, new financial world, which is pretty exciting because we're moving at 1,000% growth every year, and we are the minority that is right about this, and we're dare to challenge the status quo and move things around, change the environment, improving the world. So it's been a very interesting 8 years of my life. I would not trade this experience with anything, to be honest.
Thank you very much, Kuntop. Thank you very much for your time, and I think everyone here definitely learned a lot about what Bitkub does, how you broke into the market, and I don't want to.
Sure. So just to answer the last question quickly, COVID doesn't affect it affected in a positive way. We grow 1,000% since COVID, right? So it affects positively.
Cool. Bitcoin's the future.
Don't forget to create your Bitkub account, guys. Or if you want to join a fast-growing startup, or if you know anyone, great, please help refer.
Yeah, we'll definitely use the Oxford network. Thank you very much.
You. Sure. Take care, guys.
Yep. Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and if anyone's still here, thank you very much for coming to today's 2 talks for today. I believe we have, tomorrow is going to be another set of, another day of talks, and hopefully you guys tune in tomorrow again to see what other speakers have to say. Thank you very much, guys. Oh, sorry, on Monday rather than tomorrow. Yeah, enjoy the weekend. Yep, I believe if anyone wants to leave, welcome to do so.